missed everything that we had. I mean, I know I was sick for about
Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. And this is actually going to be our last episode of the year. And that's why we saved the best for last. You got your host, Andrea Cruz, and Miss Christina Franco.
Hello.
And we got a special guest, Mr. Rob. He's here to share his story on how he came out of prison and now he's doing really, really well in real estate. Mm-hmm. So go ahead, Rob. Tell us a little bit of how you started, who you are.
Okay. Well, first of all, want to give honor and glory to God. I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to be on this podcast, to see you guys' vision and value behind the scenes.
Thank you.
And it's an honor to meet women like you guys that I got to meet. So I just wanted to put that in perspective on spot.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We get that a lot. No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely. But yes, the process. Yes. That's one of my words that I use that I got from prison. Mm-hmm. And it went all the way back from me being from South Park. Mm-hmm. South Park over there in the hood. If anybody knows what South Park, third ward. Yeah. That's the areas I grew up in. My grandma stayed in South Park. My uncles stayed in third ward. So that made me kind of united through all those communities. So back in those days, Andrea, that's when I was led through the process of my community, because it's known who you are around the most, that's who you become.
Right, of course.
So that led me into a stray of going into the drug game. Mm-hmm. Being around, the community, I thought that was the things to do at the time.
Right.
So in the process, throughout that led me to federal prison some years until my drug game process.
Right.
Went to federal prison at 23 years old. Then when I went to federal prison, that's when my paradigm shift started coming upon me, because I started seeing all these guys with life sentences, and I'm seeing all these guys with white collar who was embezzling 30 and 20 million with over here with 3 and 4 years with their legs crossed. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, these guys over here with 8 life sentences and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, wow.
Hey, I'm doing the wrong crime now.
Yes, absolutely. And these was the guys teaching the class.
Yeah.
It was, in federal prison, it have actual inmates that teach certain classes.
The mastermind.
The masterminds.
I'm trying to get in that mastermind.
Absolutely. And that's what because it'd be guys, it'd be bankers, it'd be
That's funny. We were talking about that.
I was locked up. I was locked up with all the guys from Enron from Houston. Mm-hmm. Ben Gleason was the star witness from the Enron case. So that's how I was getting a part of these masterminds. That's how I started learning the stock market. And I got liberated more with real estate.
That's awesome.
So that's where my journey started becoming, from being around these powerful people in this, but in the prison.
Yeah.
But really, the prison was really a mastermind, because you're around all these cultures. You on Salvador, Guam, all these different international.
Guam. I love it.
So it can go good or bad for you.
Yeah.
You can look for connects.
That's true.
Or you can change your paradigm.
Man. I wonder what I would have come out if I what kind of connections I would have.
Absolutely. So that journey right there led me to figure out what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm like, man, this respect this white boy here with all, got all these millions, and he get to come get his body together and cross his legs and wake up every morning and watch the stock market and still making money.
Right.
While these boys are here in games and playing dominoes, watching the TV.
Yeah.
I said, this don't make sense.
And that is so you had it perfect there for you. You know, where you were, you're like, well, then look at this over here,
Absolutely.
It was like a reset.
Yes.
It was a reset.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank God for the federal government taking me to prison, because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here on this podcast today. I'd probably be at a job doing something else, if I would have went through this, I'd probably still be in the streets.
Yeah.
I'd be doing something else. So I'm thankful for the process.
Right.
I love that.
So that seed got started in there, but when I got out, I had the information, but I still didn't apply it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I had to get back and I had to get myself back together.
Right.
When the government strip you, you feel
Yeah.
like, dang, man, I'm gonna go back to a
Hey, you're
$9
right.
job. So those things playing through your ego.
Yeah.
Right.
I read this book called Ego is the Enemy.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
I need to give that to my husband.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that taught me like, man, okay. So as I started, went through this process of being out of prison, but with the information, because everybody can read a book,
Right.
but that don't mean that you actualize the book.
Mhm.
Everybody
Right.
quick say, I read the book.
Right.
I read all the books in prison.
Mhm.
So as I got out, I still ain't applied yet.
Right.
I'm still going through, self, and when this change came, it took me to go back to prison for a violation.
Mhm.
See, that's why I'm writing a book about my story,
Right.
because it took me to go through all these other processes.
Right.
I had to go back to a violation by, just so this violation it's something I learned from that violation, because I went back for 4 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Then got out, knew all this information.
I wasn't done with my mastermind. I gotta go back.
right, absolutely. So I felt humiliated.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I'm back in here with these guys with like sentences.
Yeah.
So as I went through that process again, I got out and I end up catching another case.
Oh man.
I end up catching a case, but I end up beating it because I got probation for it.
Thank God.
I got probation for it. And now when I got probation for it, now I got state probation for this, right?
Okay.
So I'm on federal papers at the time. So when I went through the federal process, the judge dropped my federal stuff, so I was on state papers. So when I went back to prison through all these processes, I violated that probation.
Mhm.
So I go back to prison. And that's when I meet this guy with 8 life sentences in federal prison. So because I still thought that was the process.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it took me to go to federal prison again to meet a guy with 8 life sentences. And this the guy I started walking the track with every day because I had 9 months. I had a 9-month violation. That's what changed my paradigm. That's what changed my life. And when I got out of there in 2011, I never did nothing wrong again, because it took me to see this guy who'd been locked up for 23 years. His kids only came to see him on 5 hands.
Wow.
And he said all the millions of dollars he made, it wasn't worth it.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
It wasn't worth it. I used to watch him. I'm sitting on the wall inside he was living inside my dorm. I'm watching him his every move, like, how man with 8 life sentences move? So that what developed me. That guy, I owe God and him for walking the track with me, because when I came to Beaumont Federal Prison, maximum, I walked the track with him because he knew I was fresh in, so he wanted to know about the world every day. He wanted to know about the world. So he's sharing his value about his life, and I'm sharing the world with him.
Right.
So it's a fair exchange.
Yeah.
And that's who taught me about the process. He said the process is a sandwich. You get your bread, get your meat, get your cheese, and you get your bread. You made a process. He said, go out there with life like that. Start at the bottom and go through process. And that resonated on me. He was a man of faith.
Right.
So that really took me aback. I'm like, dang, how are you still a man of faith? I'm asking these questions. So he had the love for Jesus still. So that inspired me, because I was in prison. I learned many other religions.
Yeah.
I was Muslim for a year. I was hanging with the Buddhists, the atheists.
I mean, that's kind of
Any
funny.
tribe.
Yeah.
We're like, I met all kinds of Jesus.
Absolutely. I wanted to learn who these people was.
That's nice.
Because
Well,
when we born, our parents say, huh?
right.
Yeah.
I want to discover myself.
I like it. Yeah.
So that's where I got a lot of my intellect from, my articulation and all these things.
That's nice.
So when that guy planted that seed, that's when I knew I could never come back out here and do no wrong.
Right.
Because he giving me this, want to come before destruction. God allowed me to have a violation, to go to a federal prison, get 9 months. And I didn't even share the part that I was in a home invasion and I shot somebody and all that. I got shot 8 times and all that.
Wow.
Damn, Tupac style. I love it.
Yeah, you know, and that's why I caught that violation, because I was in a home invasion before that. That's when I was selling drugs. Somebody tried to come in. I got shot 8 times. I got a rod in my leg.
Wow.
I shot somebody. The other guy shot me up, and my ex-wife got shot 6 times, and I got shot hit.
Jesus.
Yeah. So that's
Boy,
why.
is that why she's your ex-wife?
No, actually, we was together. We got married after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's real love.
Yeah, we got married. She was a down person, but you know, when somebody toxic, you got to move around.
Yeah.
You know, so I moved around. I actually wrote her a letter and left.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, and you know, I know I went back to that, but I just want to give you the prison process and a lot of these things that push me to go like beyond the average person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I go work out 5 days a week just because the doctor brought my chart in and said you're gonna limp for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be handicapped.
Jeez.
So I overcame that by reading this book in prison called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. If you believe something,
that's true.
You accept it. If you get cut and you look at it, you start If you're just not looking, somebody might say you bleeding, and your mind not resting to it.
Right.
I agree with that.
You know.
That's exactly what I'm doing right now with the market. I'm like, I don't believe that. I don't want to believe it, you know.
Yes.
But I agree. That's why I do it.
Absolutely.
Whatever your subconscious mind believes.
Yes, because everybody will say the market is bad, and then you'll start believing that, and your defeats will go down.
Exactly.
You know, so I read that book, and that's what really changed my paradigm. You know what I'm saying? Like my mental.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when he said that, I didn't believe, and I told him on spot. I said, "Sir, I can't believe that. I refuse to believe that." And today I don't got no limp. I work out with a definite purpose because of what he said. You see what I'm saying? If he wouldn't have said that, I probably wouldn't do what I do.
Right.
So it just made me want to just overcome that.
Right.
So back to the story of me getting out of prison. I just wanted to throw that in now. You know that there's no excuses.
Right.
You know, for nothing.
No.
So as I'm on this track, getting this process on the track every day from lunch, we walk on the track. Then it's time for me to come home. I'm like, what I'm gonna do now? You know,
that's where it gets good.
That's good. But the ultimate thing is, you know, when you come from the community, you got resources. You go back into the cocaine or PCP. I went to federal prison for PCP. I was out of California. I was like Walmart. I distributed from the guys that cooked it. So when I came home, I had to go through the worst temporary defeat of my life. Meaning, I can go out there and make moves, but my ex-wife was giving me money to pay for my phone bill. My mom was giving me money to pay for my haircuts, and I was putting in applications. Nobody would hire me.
Right.
I was putting applications at Walmart, these warehouse jobs. Nobody would hire me. So what I did was start going to Barnes and Nobles every day in the River Oaks. Everybody know me there because I was going there every day to read books, bring my noodles where I go make them at the gas station, come back because I ain't want to be in the streets.
I love that.
So I want to be around a bunch of masterminds and geniuses. So I was meeting people on aisles. Then I started going to Lifestyles Unlimited on West Time every week.
Right.
And I ain't have no money, but I was going there with confidence.
Nice.
Because I said, I got to be
Love
around.
that.
I said, my mom, I'm going to be honest. I said, man, I got to go around these white boys around the money. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get the money. You know what I'm saying? So I started lining up, meeting people.
Yeah.
I just was, from some of the books started kicking in.
Yes.
You know, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes.
And this other book that changed my paradigm was The Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill.
I've read that one too.
So you got to be a people's person. You know what I'm saying? So I started activating this. Not having no deals, not doing nothing. So, but I was going through this process. I got out 2011. Remember that. I closed my first wholesale deal in 2013. So I was getting deals out between that, but high deal, it wasn't making sense.
Yeah.
I made my first $4,000 legitimately. I kept that check for 2 weeks, and my mama loaned me $500 because I wanted to just keep the check.
Yes.
I got a collage of every check I did a wholesale.
He does. He showed me last time, and I was
I keep a collage because I want to know.
That's your process.
Yeah.
And you know what? Your story, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I just want to say that really, really wow. It's a wow, because look what you chose to do through the process is feed yourself with value,
Of course.
waiting
Yeah.
for your time.
Of
Like
course.
that is
Of course.
that's deep.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Not
But
everybody, nobody will do. I don't know. That's
but it
also,
comes with mental too.
Yeah.
You know, you got to know what you want.
Yeah.
You got to commit.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
you ain't commit, because everybody say, oh, like right now, everybody committing to New Year's resolution goals. Why you ain't
Right.
commit this week?
Right.
Exactly.
You know what
I
I'm
said,
saying?
why you don't stay committed every day? Like
Right.
it doesn't have to be just on New Year's.
Right.
I'm a big believer in that. Like I don't have to. To me, it's I want to do always add value to
Yeah.
myself on how I could be better. But it's not just on New Year's. Like it's a
Right.
constant
It's
thing.
constant.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I don't want to mess with people's New Year's resolutions. So go on ahead and do
Right,
your thing.
right,
Go
right.
ahead.
Still do you.
Do the new you, new me thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But everybody got a different perspective,
Right.
you know, and by me doing that first deal, making that $4,000 led me to see it was possible.
Mhm.
So just got to think about it, guys. Come from prison, been shot, got out, went through, you know, almost 2 years, making no money,
Right.
being miserable. When a
Mhm.
woman taking care of you, you better be good, man. Hey, because it's a different perspective. You walking
No.
on eggshells.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't do nothing.
Nothing.
Man,
No.
come on, man. That
It's
was,
like come on over here.
hey, that was humbling. I had to wake up and start the call up at 4:30 in the morning, all type of stuff. Make sure, you know, but it kept me humble.
I
Right.
love that.
You know, look, she come home, I cook all the sides,
At
and
least
let
you
her-
did
and
that.
let her
Some other
cook the
people
main
won't
course.
even do-
Mhm.
I just want to over deliver
That
Right.
because
is
I ain't have no money to offer. So I'm
Right.
make sure everything in line. She get up, her work clothes on.
that
You
is
know, I'm just going.
But you know what? That's good because there's guys that don't even do that. They're just
Mhm.
laying, sleeping.
Yeah.
No, that's wow.
Absolutely. So it brought me to step into my other self.
Right.
The
Yeah.
feminine self.
You know, just to be able to really cater to a woman.
Right.
Right.
Because when you got money, you feel like, huh, baby, just, you know, you just, you know, the small things count. That's when I found out through my temporary defeat. A lot of small things count.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So going through that process, that $4,000 led me to doing more deals. My second deal was 10,000. My third deal was my second deal was 2,000, and my third deal was 10,000.
Mhm.
Then through that, I met this guy, great mentor of mine, wonderful guy. He owned a home investors franchise.
Mhm.
He saw my process.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful, wonderful guy, Ron DiGiovanni.
Mhm.
Guy on over 300 houses right now. Probably got
Mhm.
a network of about 30, 40 million.
Mhm.
And I started out with him at Home Investors. I ran his company. I was his negotiator.
Wow.
For 2 years, he won #1 franchise in 2015 with the most sales.
Mhm.
The most sales out of everybody in Home Investors
Mhm.
in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that catapulted me because I was beating on my chest that I was a part of this big brand.
Mhm.
You know, even though I was getting minimized,
Mhm.
that's gonna be in my book.
Mhm.
I got minimized as far as my value of pay.
Of course.
And, you know, at that time I was on probation. That's why the story is so crazy. When I got from prison, I went to the state
Mhm.
and I got on probation.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was with him, I was on probation.
Mhm.
I was running his company so much that I forgot about probation. I'm going all over small towns because he was spending 10 to 25, 50,000 a month in marketing. You know, Home Investors got a system. It show you everybody that's 1 to 25 in marketing. Number one, we was 1 to 3 every for 2 years.
Mhm.
So he spent a lot in marketing. So he made it demanding that I answer my phone. If I'm in the restroom, if I'm asleep, whatever, he answered that phone.
Wow. Man, that's probably what I'm not doing right.
And and I made sure I did that. And this guy, Home Investors, thank you for him. He told me, Robert, go to every appointment, even on the phone if it's not a deal. If they saying, do you see the house worth 150 and they say 300, still go to the appointment. You're gonna meet somebody. Something gonna manifest from that.
Yep.
And that's what got him massive sales because even though I was in Houston, it might be somebody in a little small town and say, well, you know, but it's a deal. I ended up meeting 5 people going down there, 5 other sellers, you know. So that process developed in me. And when the police pulled me over one day in South Park, pulled me over, I had a brand new Durango.
Mm-hmm.
And they pulled me over and said I got a probation violation
Yeah.
warrant. And that was my breakthrough. I didn't know if this was going to be for my good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God will do things for you to break out of a situation.
Yeah.
So he allowed me to go through this temporary defeat where I ended up getting fired, being in jail. I was closing deals from the cell. I supposed to be locked up for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
It turned out to be 5
Yeah.
months. So my first 2 months, I'm still part of Home Investor still because he got me an attorney and all that. Was his most prized possession.
You're like, that's my asset right there.
Absolutely. So all the leads had my phone. A lot of people who we didn't close. You know how your acquisition people can still follow with people,
Yeah.
even though it come from your system, but they following up with them because that's who they been talking to.
Right.
So those people had my number, and I built rapport. I probably had about 20 some people that we didn't close yet.
Yes.
So he needed my phone when I was in jail. So my mom gave my phone, you know, and by him minimizing me, and this is gonna be a great story to let people know. I was getting so minimized that I needed money to pay for my truck note. And he was, every time I do a deal, I was getting like $1,400. And so when I went to jail, we was going through some leads every month. He throw leads away. I had to go in the trash and get a lead and end up, this is how I learned a new deal flow. I learned subject to.
Yeah.
He threw the deal away because he wanted to buy it cash. I turned it to a subject to 6 months later before I went to jail though.
Yeah.
And these 2 women helped me sold it on Craigslist. We all split it to 12,000. So now when I go to jail, I didn't tell him about the deal, right? Because he threw it away. And I probably was wrong. But when I went to jail, he had my phone and the people called because the people stopped paying. So they stopped paying. So they called my phone, Robert, and he answered the phone, probably, what's going on? That's when he stopped answering the phone for me in jail for about a week.
Yeah.
So I share that story to say, you know, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly in life, right?
Yeah.
And right now we back united because by me getting fired in jail really made me step into myself.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I had to step into myself. And the whole breakthrough about this story is that, just to fast forward, I got out from that situation doing 5 months, started my own company. Now, you know, I got over, you know, close to 25 properties. That's, you know, mine, free and clear.
Right.
And I use that from a testament because I started out with nothing.
Right.
From that, I was just doing sales, making money.
Right.
So I do, you know, so by me sharing that blessing, I was on my bike ride one day, 2 years after I got out, and saw that guy. When he fired me, we never spoke. Saw him on my bike ride. We got back together, started doing deals. I was following up with somebody from 5 years ago from Home Investors because I still had people who still ain't sold their house.
Right.
This person who I followed up with every year called me on New Year's of 2021 and said, Robert, I'm ready to sell my house. You know who I called? Ron DG Running. He said, bro, I got a platter for you. He said, what? He said, I'm out of town. I said, I got a deal for you. He said, I'm going to send my guy over there. When he sent his guy over there, I put the whole contract in his company name and didn't make no money off the deal. And he cried because I sent him the process what the seller sent me. I got it in my phone. How I followed up. I was always diligent. And that's why she giving me the deal. Even though she could sell it to me for more, she sold it to me for $50,000. He fixed the house up and probably made about $60-some thousand off the house. And I ain't get nothing.
Nice. But
So
that's respect right there.
Yeah.
Because you're like, hey, I know, you know, I probably did this, and just to kind of
right.
And I like that.
Absolutely.
No one does that.
Absolutely. You know? Absolutely. So I just want to pay it forward. I'm just, you know, through this process, I'm just showing you the good, the bad, and the ugly where you can change the situation, no matter what demographic you are, what religion you are. There's no excuses. I don't care if you come from Africa, Mexico, you know. I got a friend from Ukraine. Her family had to fly here to start a new life, and they making moves.
Yeah.
So coming from prison, there's no excuses for nobody because the information is here.
Yeah.
Like more than ever.
That's I like that. That's a very good story because
thank you.
You went and you could have done so many other things. You could have watched TV. You could have made excuses that, oh, there's no jobs, no one's hiring.
Absolutely.
But you chose to go and add value to yourself so then you can give to others.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. And I feel like a lot of, even me, you're like, wow, like you're inspiring me because I feel like, dang, like sometimes I'll make an excuse about something. I'm like, That's so you see, guys, like people that don't have nothing going on, they're at home, you're watching TV or you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram for the wrong reasons. Like, grab a book, learn.
Absolutely. YouTube University too taught me.
I
I was
know.
at home from prison, YouTube every day, just watching different people
How
in
you
the
set
field.
your mind,
And real estate, I figured out it's sales, it's marketing, and negotiations. You just learn one of those skill sets and tie into people, somebody like yourself, and bring
It's really
deals.
marketing, sales, and then the acquisition, because it starts with the marketing and then it sells. But yes.
Well, I say for me, for me.
Because yes, the sales started first.
Right,
Yes.
right. And I had to negotiate a bunch of deals.
Yeah.
Because I was with Home Investors, this franchise.
Right.
We buy ugly houses. So it was negotiations, and that guy put me in negotiation class. He sent me to Sandler's. It was a negotiations and a psychology. How to
The Chris Voss or no, the Allen?
No. It's a location in Dallas.
Oh, wow.
So he used to pay $2,500, $3,500 to send me to this 4-day training, so I could become a better salesman and negotiator.
That's awesome.
Using psychology and all these things.
That's a blessing.
Yeah, he wanted me to be.
And the thing is, like, for owners, it's hard to find someone like you. And the thing is, whenever it is someone like you, it's like they have the entrepreneur mindset. So you invest all this time knowing, like, hey, I know this person is going to probably eventually leave.
Right.
But the way I look at it, it's like, hey, you don't know anything. I'll train you. I'll teach you. You're good. I know eventually you're going to get up and go. But let's right now give each other that value. I'll feed you, but you have to be good to me. Because see, what happens is, and that tends to happen. People go, they're like, well, they're already getting leads and all that. It's easy to be like, well, I don't gotta tell her about this one.
Right.
But then that's what goes with the marketing. Like, hey, but we're putting a lot, because I take myself away from the acquisition, so I can focus on, hey, what kind of leads we're bringing in.
Right.
So then you give your acquisitions pretty much. Your money is on the acquisition,
Of course.
So it's like you put all your hope in them. But it's hard to find people that are legit, that are going to go.
Yes.
And if they are like that, they're like entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like, can I find one like that in a VA style?
Right. Absolutely.
But yeah, it is. Because I would do that, send people training and do all that. But then I'm like, but damn, I'm training them. I should train myself.
Yes.
Because like they're gonna be the ones that are gonna take that value. But then again, that's where you put yourself in all the seats, and you gotta let go of the vine.
Of course.
But then it's hard. It gets hard to let go.
Right.
Because you're like, I should get that training. I should do it. But no, you should focus on other income producing stuff and let them handle that.
Yeah.
But it goes in between, because it's like you pay for it, they may leave. So
absolutely.
It gets a little tough sometimes.
I faced one thing with that, and that was just recently that I had Lily, and she sat with me, and we sat down, and because my mind's always going so fast, I mean, she just went in and just threw a straight wrench in the road. Like I literally hit an invisible wall, and in 2 days, she broke my life down. It's usually the people from the outside. So being in prison, because I was there, I did my little time. Yeah, whatever. There's a lot of things you guys don't know. But one of the things is that, I had a drug case, right? Came out of, and I was working at, St. Luke's Hospital. I was, getting my nursing degree. Everything was going good for me. And I made that one mistake. And it took me, I went to St. Thomas University. And this is where the no gets you. I was told no so many times.
Absolutely.
Being a minority and still being a felon was very hard. The only thing that saved my ass was bilingual.
Okay.
Got your ass. Got your ass.
Hey, be like, that's a career too.
Yeah, you like me now? No, but the thing is that I was told no so many years, and I went to school. When I went to do my thumbprint, it came out. And the funny thing is that I had adjudication. So it was like, okay, you're going to go in, whatever. And it was so stupid. It became federal because we went over state line. If it was here, slap on the hand, you'd be out, whatever.
Hey,
got my
Christina,
weed, whatever. That's why I do gummies. Can't take me for the gummies.
Whenever they caught the case. They're like, Christina, like, did I mention I was single, bilingual, and ready to mingle?
Girl, it was so bad. But it was a situation that I understood it because I was hard.
Right.
When they had me in a boot camp situation and they were telling me in my face and screaming at you like you're in the army.
Right.
So I understand PTSD, you know, because the way they scream in your face, and when you're a person of power and you have all the say so, and they fucking take everything away from you, and yes sir, no sir, it taught me good things.
Wow.
I'm not gonna say, just like he said thank you, I'll say thank you. I switched up all my friends with no problem.
Right.
Family, friends, everything.
Absolutely.
I would have stayed I would have been hood rich. That's all I would have gotten at that time had I stayed in that situation. But like I said, I went to college, I did everything, and I cried so damn hard when they told me I could not get my license.
Wow.
And you know what's funny is 2 nights ago, because I've been sick and I finally started going through my emails. And 2 nights ago, I went through my emails and I got accepted to St. Thomas University
Oh,
to
let's
go get my
Come
CEUs
on,
so that I can go ahead and get my license.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was always my goal, was
Absolutely.
finance, you know,
Wow.
and it was always fighting with my husband. Like, I know what these people are doing and telling you, and you ain't listening. And don't be blinded by a person's label or position, because there might be somebody that knows a lot more by experience.
Exactly.
There's people that walk in with $100,000 or $200,000 and they'll risk it, but we know what risk is because we only got one shot.
Absolutely.
And so getting out of that now, you know, I'm going to be going back to school, so that's something that's kind of crazy.
Right.
Nice.
But you know, I'm going to get my license and I'm going to open my brokerage and my financial firm. That's what I've always wanted.
Wow.
And it sucks
Wow.
because when you can have all the money that you have, but you never got to succeed at what you wanted
That's
because they
nice.
told you no.
Oh,
I always turn no into it's on, baby.
Wow, it's
It's
on.
on,
Nice.
baby.
I love
Ain't no no in me.
Wow.
And
I like that. It's
That's
on.
It's
I know
on, baby.
it's on.
That's, yeah, I turn my no around to it's on.
Wow.
And it's always been that because many years when I first started, see, you started off with the reality of $1,400, $2,000, and $3,000 assignment fees. Right now, people don't want to touch shit if it ain't $20,000, $30,000, $40,000.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Shit, I
Man,
put, you know.
I'll take them.
Hey, y'all didn't see my Christmas video? I gave out penny banks.
Well, I mean, we just had one with an agent and we got like 2,500. I was like,
It's okay.
I'll take it.
It's okay.
I take that money just as if it was like 50 or it's money. It's a
Absolutely.
blessing.
Yeah.
You didn't have it before.
Absolutely. Come on.
Yeah. But I will tell you something that when I was in boot camp, and I know he's going to understand this, is that it was the structure. Many people will pay for people and what do you call it, like mental therapists and spirituality people, which is good, but you need to get stripped. And if you don't go to jail, strip yourself from your habits, strip yourself from your wants, and make them not your wants, make them your needs, and then your needs to I have.
Right.
And it's only you that can make those things happen.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's when they've taken everything away. People don't understand. They would always tell me, Christina, why you work so much? Why this, why that?
Wow.
Because I didn't live in a life of lack. It got taken. So trust was an issue for me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even trust. It was, let's be a little bit more careful.
Yeah.
You know, because I still trust the people I was around. It's just the fact that it was a mistake.
Right.
And I have to rethink things before I do things. I won't get in a motherfucking car with nobody.
Right.
You know,
Right.
sometimes we're like, hey, you know what, let's go, whatever. But, you know, meet some.
Hey,
new
I'm over here.
people.
Yeah, girl, let's
Right,
get on.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you have to think about it because it was something in someone else's car and we
Yeah.
went over state line.
Oh, dang.
you
Okay,
know?
I see.
And so,
I
you
would
know,
have trust issues too.
yeah, you know, so you have to think about things. And I tell my kids and I tell kids, people's kids, you know, hey, just be careful, you know, let your mom pick you up because you never know.
Right.
You know, so it's not where you start, it's your destination.
Absolutely.
And that's what
Facts.
my life has always been, as a destination, because I got in a car and I took the wrong road and then boom.
Wow.
But for when I went to school, they said it hadn't been 10 years. So now it's been, oh my God, it's, you know, since the days of cotton, like shit, it's been a long, long time. So now, you know, that I can go back and do it, I'm going to do it because it's something that I want my kids to see I fulfilled and I finished.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
But it is my drive.
Right.
Money having a bank, being bankable, that is my drive.
Love it.
I like being in the back end. I like
Wow.
being the money person
Wow.
and, you know, structuring people together. And that's what it is. But wholesale wouldn't have gotten, if I wouldn't have done wholesale, it wouldn't have gotten me where I was at.
Wow.
I was a landlord,
Right.
but that tweak of learning the contracts and this and that, and it was so crazy how a piece of paper changed my life.
God, that's powerful.
A piece of paper. And being teachable and coachable, because if you come in with that I know it all mentality, because I've been doing this and I closed 500 deals and I'm a million,
or I have
whatever.
like all these doors.
Oh girl, all the doors in the world. Let me tell you something. If you that if you really have apartments and stuff, I heard something last night, and this is crazy. My husband was flicking through the channel and he was listening to Robert Kiyosaki. He ain't a reader, but he'll listen. You know, he's an audio person, so am I.
I am too.
So, you know, so he was sitting there and he was, you know, flicking through some stuff. And I saw something, respect to everybody in their game. Okay. But when you're a salesman, you're a salesman.
Right.
So Robert Kiyosaki was telling Grant Cardone about how when you're a landlord, it's all about maintenance and your management company. And he was like, no, you know, it's about the money. So a person like me and my husband, we looked at it, because I always tell Andrea, this cash flow, mailbox money, that's bullshit unless you get into what we're doing. Seller finance. You get rid of the responsibility, the liability. You still own the house. And what I was telling him a minute ago, I'd rather pull out 70 to 80% of something and own and have equity of 30% of something. No, 20% of something than pay 30% and have nothing.
Absolutely.
You know, if you know taxes, and there you go, you know.
They're like, oh, we're confused.
Yeah. No, because the thing is, if you have $100,000 home and you can get $80,000 out of it and have somebody pay the note back, you have $80,000. And that's what I learned when I went with what I told you the last time we were eating with Mr. Kennedy. I was crying, losing a property. How can I get the money? And this man told me, you got equity. Liquidity was his word. You've got liquidity. I'm like, what's liquid?
Can I pee on my
purple stuff?
Right, for real.
Like, you want some syrup?
Yeah, sipping on the syrup. No,
Mr. Kennedy, we don't got time for that syrup.
I don't want to go back. No, but the thing is, so when you start learn how these people talk. I didn't know what liquidity was, you know. I mean, and I really did not know what equity was. Okay. Then I started laughing and I was like, man, I'm fucking broke. I'm equity rich, but I'm broke. I'm fine. I can't get gum at the store, but I'm equity
I can't get
rich.
my gummies, but that's all right.
I made sure to get my gummies. They're brownies now. My husband said I had to get rid of the cinnamon roll and the chip ahoy. I was like, all right, I got me some brownies. No, but it keeps me calm. I mean, I'll tell you, because I was a rough motherfucker. Now I'm okay, and they keep me calm. But going back to the 80, you know, you get 80% out of it, and then you wrap that and sell it to somebody, you know, talk to your CPA and all this other stuff. But what is what I did. But anyway, you know, you wrap that note after a certain period of time, you wrap that note, you get another 20, 30,000 down. You're at 80 to you're at 90 to 105%. You got all your money back, and these people are paying off your debt. You still own the house. You have equity in it, and you're getting cash flow. That's cash flow, because you're not paying taxes. You're not paying nothing. You're collecting your money.
And if they stop paying it, you get to start over again.
Exactly. And then let's say you have this note and you create this note. Your payment's $1,000. You're collecting $1,200 in rent. But guess what? Your mortgage payment is $1,500. You're out $300. So you're really not growing. You're still in debt. You just own properties, but you thought you owned them. They own you. So you have to know where to variate all that.
Absolutely.
And when you play with money, you will learn everything is a number. Even time on a clock is a number. And when you learn how to appreciate numbers and time and money, that's when you're going to win, because your ego ain't going to get you nowhere. Your face, how you walk in, how you look, how you act, because everybody's out there clowning. They're acting like they know all this shit. I can only speak on experience. That's it. So when I see clowns walking in, I sold $1 million this year. I'm like, all right, motherfucker, we're going to break that down by 3%, maybe 6 every now and then. You know,
Right.
You
right,
know,
And then the
right.
taxes on that.
and then the taxes on that, you know, your time, your driving, your this and that. Yeah, you get, it's just a lot.
Right.
So when you learn to
Mhm.
dissect the
Mhm.
number,
Mhm.
everything, when we came into this world, we
Right.
weren't given just a name. We were
Right.
relied by a number.
Absolutely.
So that's just
Drop that mic.
That's facts. Wow, you did. That was a whole
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah.
That was.
Golly.
I love Christina. She always. Last night we were talking for like a whole hour.
Andrea's
But-
falling asleep, man.
But I love it because she's just like, hey, Andrea,
Yeah.
this, and you need to
Right.
do that. And
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, she really opened my eyes on that
Mhm.
owner finance.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm like, wait a
Yeah.
goddamn minute here. I'm
Yeah.
like, you're telling me, and it was beautiful because
Yeah.
she explained it so good, and I'm like, wow.
Mhm.
And it's true. A lot of people are like, oh, cash flow is king and all that. No,
No.
she made it look. I was like, oh wow, I was thinking the whole wrong
Yeah.
way.
Right.
You know,
So-
everybody talks about, my husband hates it when I say that the world here, the United States can be a little bit communistic. Okay.
Mhm.
As long as you're rolling and you're making money and you're paying your taxes, you can have it. But
Yeah,
if you own your house, you're getting taxed like a dog. You have no write-offs. You got no privilege.
Mhm.
yeah,
As long as you get the bag of rice, is what I tell them, and you eat from the bag of rice,
Mhm.
you're going to be okay.
Mhm.
But if you try to get something more, a bag of rice and beans, we're gonna knock your ass out. You know, we're gonna financially enable you
Right.
until you do what we say. And you know, our world is good. You
Right.
know, we're
Right.
able to live very lavishly,
Of
but they
course.
want us. They still want control of our
Of
money.
course. Of
They
course.
still want that control.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we were talking about. So I was showing him last night about the things I've been doing because
Mhm.
with the guy, because I had a guy and I was telling her, watch this, Andrea. He started off with $45,000. And I told my husband, I want you to see, because I have all his stuff. So I said, I want you to see what he has in the bank now. $496,000. He owns 9 properties. He's owner financed them. He's liability free.
Mhm.
And I said, now you tell me why your wife can't take, you don't trust your wife enough to do that.
Mhm.
Boom.
she done made another man rich.
On spot.
Hey, but that's his fault.
Right.
Mhm.
And like
right.
I told him, you know, it because 80% of something, he's
Absolutely.
worried about how I'm gonna flip it, I'm gonna get my money back.
Right.
But right now there's not a good market to be flipping. It's
Right.
not a
It's
flipping
not.
game. The
It's not.
material's high.
Yes.
I'm importing material, so I could
Yes.
tell you right now, it is not that type of game. Now,
Right.
if you're a builder,
Right.
you're good
Right.
because you're not losing money because your
course.
plans and everything is right there.
Of course.
And
course.
it's easier for a builder
Of course.
than for a rehabber right now or a flipper.
Mhm.
But if you're going to buy it, hold it, and sell it like
Right.
you sell it
Right.
without all these inspections and you can get away with murder,
Absolutely.
shit, you
Yes.
know, it's a seller finance world.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. And by just to expand on that, seller finance so changed my life. Now, I think I was telling you, I was just selling 2 notes
Mhm.
of my notes. I sold one just to learn this back end process.
Right.
Now I could broker deals.
Right,
If he owned notes, I can bro. If you need some money to run, I
Right.
can broker a deal now.
Mhm.
right.
So seller finance is really like a wholesale, a rental, and a flip if you want to sell the
If
note
you want
all
to
in
sell the
one.
note, there you
Yeah.
You see what I'm
go.
saying?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
so some people can make some cash flow for a while.
Yeah.
Sell your note, recoup, and go buy another. You
There you
see
go.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yourself.
Yes.
Yourself.
Yes.
That's the thing because you right now these holding costs are crazy
Yes.
on
Yes, they are.
our loans and stuff.
Yes.
So if you go 6 months over and your note is 2,000 and your holding cost that's $12,000.
Absolutely.
So if you do your own deal, then guess what? You know that 12 is yours.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. So it's
Absolutely.
important.
Yes. Yes. And I'm glad that just to see women like you guys, Hispanic, into the marketplace to show that it's possible.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Thank you.
you know, a lot of people from our culture don't even know about being a bank,
Mhm,
knowing that we
mhm.
can,
We can be our own
it
bank.
just know how.
Mhm.
And honestly, on all my owner finance, every house I have bought, I never fixed up.
Yeah.
I leave that to the marketplace.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The marketplace gonna say, I want this. I'm
That's
not
it.
forcing nobody to take their water.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's like a win-win.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. It's like you're the new SWE Homes.
Yes.
They make you so
Absolutely.
mad at Scott Wizard, but he's
Absolutely.
good. He's good people.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know him through the process, but I always kept my owner finance at 10%. I never,
Right.
never went over those numbers.
Right.
You know, it even go down sometimes.
Mhm.
So I get what you're saying when you say you have to show your husband that,
Mhm.
and that would give you a major perspective.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, and I saw your eye pop, so you understood the number.
absolutely. Shoot,
Everybody, his
You're like, I need to get with Christina.
that's massive. Shoot.
Yeah, no, because a lot of times it's people that don't want to listen. They want to get to the end game before they even start, the process.
Right.
And that's the problem. And then they wonder why they fail. Because right now there was a lot of new investors trying to be landlords losing.
Absolutely.
Because those notes are 5,000, 6,000, 30,000. Wait till you get to the tax if it's not escrowed.
Absolutely.
And I prefer to pay my taxes on some of the properties versus having them escrowed because I don't want that in there. I don't want all that.
Because then you pay interest on that. You
pay interest on that, and I don't want that. So I've learned to save on interest there. And it's like we were talking last night. People don't understand. They're like, oh, I got that deal and it was 10%. It was not 10%. By the time you go to sell it, there's going to be a 6% markup for the realtor. Then you're going to pay your points, because it is kind of like a point system when you go to closing,
right?
For every certain amount, there's another point. So by the time you know it, you're like, I'm at 10, but then you're at 6. And then you're in the beginning, you're at, say, a point to close it and a point to close it again. That's another 2.
Right.
So you're at 18. So it's really about 20 to 25 and 20 to 25 points is 25% of whatever you create. So if you're buying at a 75 and your fees are at 25%, you got nothing.
Right.
So you have to negotiate and buy right. People get mad and they're like, y'all are offering nothing. No, it's got to make sense for everybody.
Right.
I'm not here just to play hero.
Right.
It has to make sense. We have to get out of it. So that's what's important in it. And like I said, it's that freaking hidden numbers game.
Right.
Those hidden figures, you've got to look for those numbers and pay attention to everything.
Right.
And if you're not paying yourself as a contractor, then you're not getting anything out of it. You know?
Right.
And because you could write that off. You have to learn how to structure your whole business. I talk about a movie called Trust, based on John P. Getty. I even went over there to his museum to see everything, to understand his life. I really understood what it was. Man with all the money in the world. That was the name of the movie, I believe. All the money in the world. And they kidnapped his grandson and they wanted ransom, and he couldn't do it because all his money was in a trust. Yeah.
Wow.
He said, sell me a painting, whatever. But he cannot tell you, I have to do this to get this done. So it was kind of crazy. And it was kind of what you were talking about last night.
All the money, I gotta put that on.
Yeah, all the money in the world. It's freaking crazy. But it's based on trust. You would think it's based on trust between people.
Right.
It's based on the financial trust, the way your money is structured. And so it has to revolve around that trust, that little communistic way. It has to be revolved in that same little, whirlpool of money just going down the drain. They don't go down the drain. It just goes back onto the paper.
Right.
But it's really something I really like. I love that you have successfully succeeded.
Even with all those trials.
Yeah. No, and you're calm, because everybody always wants to come out with that fight and that bitterness and
that victim mentality.
Mentality. And I will tell
like
you
life
something.
owes you something.
Yeah, and they don't know you shit. And I'm gonna tell you right now that what stripped me down was my attitude when I went in there, because I was horrible. I was always fighting. My mom had me in karate thinking she was going to calm me down. That made me worse.
Right.
And
Hey, she went from hitting to doing kicks.
Yeah, I kicked this. Yeah, no, I was really
from
crazy.
Punching.
Right.
But I will tell you,
Christine over there doing
because-
backflips. And shit.
yeah, because it was very weird for me, because back in the day, it was hard. A lot of people say a light-skinned black man, they don't know his struggle. I can tell you what it is, because in my school, it was either black or white. And then the Hispanics thought like I was white. So I didn't really fit in anywhere. And I had to fight. And that's what always made me fight, was rejection. So me, not to get rejection, I'm going to make my own empire and fuck everybody. That's just how I was.
Absolutely.
And so, but it took that, and that's what made me so angry all the time. And so it was like, well,
and that's what we were talking about earlier. It was like, you take what made you angry and you put it into fire to because yours was rejection. Me, I was saying like, I felt like I had to prove, because it was like, they always want to bring you down.
With boys.
But that is what brought you this, because even if it was that and you hold on to that, but that's what made you that fire to come back.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like you say, it's a no, it's on because you're getting
Mhm.
rejected.
Yeah.
And that brings fire to you.
Mhm.
So if you turn that into like, hey, whatever the situation, either some people have been like, well, I got rejected all the time. That's
Right.
why I'm not doing anything with myself.
Mhm.
But you said no, because I got rejected.
Because
That's why I gotta
rejected.
prove to them
That's all.
that I can do it. And
Mhm.
that, you see how you turn that around?
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
what people need to do. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people are going through the same situation you're
Mhm.
going through, but they take that situation and run with it.
Mhm.
They're not like, oh, well, this is
Right.
where I'm at and this is what life gave me. No,
Mhm.
life gave you that. Now see what you can do with it, you
Yeah.
know? So that's good. And I love that. I think
Mhm.
you guys just set the perfect example of
Mhm.
how you can turn, you know, something into nothing into something.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Mhm.
And I'm excited to hear your story as well, because what if you didn't take that trip?
Mhm.
Would you be in your field having a job? Not, you wouldn't have probably met Andrea, had this
Mhm.
podcast, you
Mhm.
know, all the things that you have acceded,
Right.
you know, wouldn't be here probably.
Mhm. No.
You'd have been on this just working and going home,
Yeah.
you know, not able to talk about
Mhm.
financial freedom, owning
Yeah.
finance, and all these defeats.
Mhm.
So sometimes prison be like a blessing in disguise that we
Yes.
don't see.
It was.
you
It
know?
was. For me, it really was.
Right.
It gave me time. And let me tell you, being in a federal prison was crazy.
Yeah,
I learned about tax evasion because most of the women there were in there for tax evasion. And, you know, we talk about those things, and they had life skills classes. And I think they really need more life skills classes in schools.
Right.
They took it out and they started doing other things. But I really think they need to bring kids a little bit more back down to earth, to what reality is. Kids won't be getting pregnant so fast, you know, all those things. But, you know, it's a reality of things. They need to offer that. And I think I was reset. They hit my reset button. I remember when one of the officers came in my face, and his name was Brigami. He was like this short, came right in my face. If I was on the street, I will whoop his ass.
Like a rag doll.
Yeah, boom, boom. You know, shit. It would have went Street Fighter real quick. And then he's standing there, and you have to have your hands behind your back and just take it. And I remember he told me, "You ain't shit."
Wow,
and I was like, "Yeah." And I said, "You ain't shit." And then they threw me in a corner. I'm like, "God damn it, I gotta be in a corner." And they send you out there to chop trees and shit, trying to save the redhead woodpecker. Like, what the
Oh, y'all had
fuck
to
is
chop
that?
trees and
Yeah, they would put us in a bus and take us to go chop trees and rake up leaves at the state parks and shit. Can you imagine the humility? But I always made the best of whatever. I didn't care. I'd be like, shit, I'm
twerking and stuff. I gotta work out those glutes.
Yeah. But you know what? It was that I got from my grandparents.
Okay.
He always told me you could be whatever you want to be.
Right.
Just be the best at what you do.
Right.
You know, and I was like, okay. And so, you know, I don't look at, you know, like our store got on fire. Okay, whatever. Now we got a bigger building. And I don't let it defeat me. And I'm gonna tell all of y'all a big freaking secret. Okay. Y'all know my daddy's a pastor. But they told me this one thing. I was sitting at a meeting and we were talking, and they're like, Christina, you're never at your store anymore. You know, and I noticed when I was at my store, it was causing problems because now it became a position. You know, everybody wants to shine, and I get that. I love my kids and they want to show their effort, and I get it. And you can't just always pat your kid on the back. You show it by the support. So I said, okay. One day I just said, you know what? I'm not going to fight with all these people. I call Andrea all the time. I'm tired of shit, whatever.
I'm like, put me in, coach.
Put me in, girl. Take me in there. You know, like, okay. So then, you know, I was confronted by a guy at a meetup that I went to speak to, and he tried to clown me. And it turned on his ass real quick. And I'm going to tell you why, because this is my reason. They asked me, why is it that you're never at your store if you say you run your store and you do this and you do that? I said, I want y'all to understand something. It's going to make it real quick. When I got on my knees and I prayed to God, give me this store so I can have a legacy to leave to my kids, he answered that prayer. And when he answered that prayer, I want you to understand that I am living a life looking at my legacy in vivid color. And the thing is that some people leave a legacy, they don't know whatever happens. So when I prayed and God answered my prayer, and I was fighting with my son, I was fighting with my husband, I was fighting with the people, I said, you know what, forget all this shit. Let them handle it. I have to trust that y'all are going to handle it. And now that they're handling it, guess what? It's still growing. It's working, but that is my legacy. And I had to let go and trust. Okay. And the guy's like, yeah, but you're not involved. This motherfucker was on me. I said, okay, let me tell you something. I got what I prayed for. There's a God and there's a devil. And the devil will set out temptations. When you pray, I want that car, and you wanted that car, and it was the beautiful 2000 whatever Mercedes, you got that car, and God granted that wish, right? But then the new one came out, and you're like, no, I got to have that car. I got to have that car. Well, you know what? You got to watch what you pray for, because God answered my prayer to see my legacy in life, right? Some people don't see that. But the devil will send temptation. Money's always rolling my way. I promise you. But it's up to me to take that temptation to buy more and do more. And I'm out. I'm out. I trust it. Now, what I did do is, like I told him, I want to see your wife step out of your business and your office and trust you. And let's see if that works. Usually doesn't. So I don't live on the devil's temptation. God already answered all my prayers. And it's funny, when you don't live in a life of lack, like, you know, oh my God, whatever, it just keeps coming.
It's
coming.
true.
Coming. I'm like, oh my God. And that's it. And it may sound crazy because it is a little bit twisted because it came out of me that way. But when I said that, I am a woman that is willing to sacrifice my pride, because what control is. It's pride. Y'all can sit there while I'm doing something else. And guess what God gave me? My license is coming through. I'm doing loans. I'm freaking working like a bank. I'm doing a lot of things that I wanted to do in my lifetime. But as a mom, you have to give that up. You give up what you wanted to do to make shit work. Who knew I was going to work at a hardware store? Who knew I was going to have a restaurant? Who knew I was going to have a daycare? I did what I had to do to survive. And because I couldn't get a job. Okay. And the job that I got was only paying me $12-14 an hour that I couldn't afford to pay half the shit to keep what I started. So it was like, all right, fine. But to be able to sacrifice your ego and say, go, because this is what I trusted and I prayed for. There you go. And so then I step out of that. Me and Andrea start doing this. I start flipping, doing my own stuff. And it's crazy because I grew more on my own than staying focused on
inside that store.
Yes.
And that's where
breaking important relationships. Because a lot of men forget that women are the ones that set forth. They watch the kids, they did this, they did that, and they don't appreciate that job. That job you said you did because you knew. You know, so that's the thing. So you have to be, I'm not a man hater all the time. But the thing is that I think it's equality. People say they're always fighting, women are fighting for equality. No, it's acknowledgement. It's not equality. Because if you understand that I get up at 5 a.m. and I'm tired, I'm not saying you got to do it because I do it. I'm saying do it because you want to help me do it. If I have to ask my husband for $1,000 because I need something, I should never have to ask. I'd rather not even book with you. That's facts. That's what it is. So that's the thing. You have to trust and believe. And when you get on your knees and you pray for what you want, watch what you pray for. Pray with an humble heart, because I did not understand what was thrown at me. But you have to look at it. Money is temptation. When they say it's the root of all evil, your ego is. Because money is just money. It's stagnant. It's stagnant. And you can seduce money, or money can seduce you.
When, you know, and I love that you said about that. Like, that's what I feel that happens. It happened to me. That mentality, that money, like, hey, I need to get money. Like, I have to work all the time. I got to work weekends. I got to work all of this. And because I like to listen to a lot of good videos, one of the great things is say busy stands for being under Satan's yoke. You know, they keep you so busy, so overwhelmed that you forget what's your surroundings. And when you start as an entrepreneur, that tends to happen, because that happened to me. It's kind of like you drain yourself in your business that you're like, I don't have time to have fun. I don't have time to be with my family because I have to work. I have to make money. And that is where money is the root of all evil. Because then I started to change that into trust, into faith. I have faith that I don't need to work all these crazy hours. I'm going to give it all I got for the 5 hours. And then this other time I'm going to spend with my family and doing things that I love to do, and trust that these 5 hours, and obviously, you got systems and operations behind it, but you have to learn to let go and not overwhelm, because when you are being under Satan's yokes, means busy, like you're always like, I'm busy doing this. That's busy and actually being productive are two different things.
Right.
And I know that happens to a lot of people when they start, and they're like working weekends, working that, and then you're missing the opportunity. You tell me this all the time, and I love it, and I appreciate you, Andrea. You're going through exactly what I went through. You need to spend more time with your family. You need to spend more. And I love that, because I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like, I don't have to be doing all of this. Like, and you have to learn how to balance it, and as we were talking, you can't be just successful in business. You got to be successful in life, and for like your family. You're doing all this great, but you're over there, you haven't seen your kids in days. Your wife is over there arguing with you because you haven't been home or helping. Like, just as you put in your business, you need to learn to put in at home with your family. And that's how I feel that's true success. When a person can put in, just like, oh yeah, I gotta be 100% when I show up to my company, but then you're only giving 20% to your wife. Dude, that ain't success, bro. That's just like your ego is telling you that, because you feel good that you're doing something good in your company. So your ego's feeling good, like, oh, you're doing good. But when you go home, now you feel like a man, like, oh no, I don't need to help my wife. I already did my ego part at work. No, that is what really a real man is, when they can balance both and still come home tired, but know that, hey, you know what, my wife's been at home with these kids all day, let me take the kids, or let me go give her a gift to massage. They completely forget about their life at home, because they're so focused about what they're trying to, and then they use like, well, look what I gave you, look, I gave you money and gave you that. But your family don't want money, they want your time, they want to get to know who dad is, and it's the same thing for me. I tell that to myself, like, I don't want to just be working to give them this. That's why my year of 2022 was to make more memories with my family, travel more with my family. And I did that. And it felt so good. And it was still a great year. I still did better than I did last year. And I took more time off with my family. So that's beautiful, And so that's why I just feel like people have that whole perspective of, I got to grind, I got to hustle. Yes, you do, but learn how to balance it,
Of course.
So that was just my, so
No,
don't
that's
busy. It's busy. It's being under Satan's yoke. I always tell myself, when I'm running around like crazy and I'm all like, oh my God, I'm like, wait a minute. I sit still. I do a little prayer, and I'm like, no, because that's Satan trying to take over you and trying to make you feel like you got this crazy life, and you don't. You're kind of just doing that all in your head, creating that. So just wanted to kind of give that tip out there. When you're really busy, remember, you're being under Satan's yoke.
There you go. See, you knew we were going to kick it off.
Yes.
No, but the thing is, if you really want to do something, do things with an humble heart. If you're cocky, break it down, reset yourself, start saying nice things to your wife, to your kids, to different things, because it does make a big difference. And sometimes your kids will be reluctant to accept it because they're so used to you being one way. Sad they can't accept it. But the thing is that they'll start to gravitate to it, and you'll live that new life. If your kids don't offer it to you, you'll live that new life through your grandkids. And that's the truth. God will reset it. You just have to push the button. That's it. Yeah. Because everybody has a purpose.
That's right. If you still have a heartbeat, there's still a purpose.
There's still a purpose. You woke up. There it is. I'm sorry.
All right, guys. But we wanted to end that good one, because this is a great one. It's the end of the year. You know what? We should have like a training where people can come get an assessment of themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's when you start asking yourself questions, like you got to step out of your body and ask yourself, who am I? What do I like to do? If money wasn't an issue, what is it that I will be doing? So you get to learn who you are, because we're always told what to do. Oh, you got to do this. You got to do that. So I feel bad for my kids sometimes too, because I'm like, well, you have to do this. I asked them, what is it that you want to do? Like, open up, but kids, they don't know. So
Right.
I did an assessment on my daughter, and it kind of made her realize like, oh, I didn't even know that I like to do that, or traits that you have inside, but they're hidden because you don't know how to do an evaluation of yourself.
Yeah.
Everyone should do a 2022 evaluation. Hey, how did this year go? And how do I want the next year to go? And what are the things I can do different to do the things in 2023 that I didn't do in 2022?
Right. Wow. No, that breakdown that I did on that four quadrant paper, holy shit.
Was that for that?
No, like way off, like it's a personal thing.
Okay.
I had to write on a paper, and this is crazy, I'm gonna say it fast. I had to write on a paper exactly what I do, what the businesses is that I have, and all this stuff, and I had to pick 3. How in the hell do you go from 27 or 31 things that you literally have going and fit them into 3? So we used flashcards, and I wrote everything down that I did. I took it from the one paper and I wrote them on flashcards, and then we divided it. So this is real estate, so this could go here, and this is insurance and finance, this can go here. And then I actually said, well, you know what, there's no room for this, and I literally freaking balled it up and threw it away, and it was over.
I love that.
I didn't want it anymore. It was so free. I have these machines because I've started the first sauna med spa, right?
Hey, every day.
And I would carry those things like this. Like, I would not get rid of it. It was like a pursuit of happiness. Like, that's my little pursuit of happiness. I wasn't going to get rid of those machines. My little time machines. Those things really made me a lot of money. But they made me a lot of money at its time and purpose. And so it was like, you know what? But I sold the business. I closed another business. It was like, you know what? But I still had the machines. So it was like, I'm going to hold them. But I can't go out there and rub people's ass and do all this shit no more.
Say who?
Doing this other stuff. I say who? No, but that's the thing. So I held on to those things. So that's when Caroline got it and she sold them. And I was like, I would look in the corner and they were no longer there. But the corner looked not empty. It looked clean.
Look for a new opportunity.
Looking for a new opportunity.
now
it's got those phone holders, those tripods. Now it's got tripods. But no, you have to see things, and that quadrant thing that we
should probably do a class like that.
Man, if y'all are up for that,
let's do it. Us 3 will host a class like that.
My God, I will tell you something. You will know more about yourself in 2 hours.
I love that. We need to do that.
Man, you will know yourself in 2 hours, and you will be shocked because when I threw that paper away, I literally threw the feeling away. The detachment. It was crazy. And I don't know, but that was something. I mean, everybody says that I'm calm. I sleep more. I used to be up until 3, 4. Chris Silvas used to always tell me, why are you up at 3 o'clock? I'd be calling Junior. Hey, well, what are you doing? Oh, yeah. Well, I'm looking at this property. What you think? Just who's awake, because I was awake working. I should have been sleeping. I was so tired. I was distraught,
No, that is like a set of overwhelmness right there. When you don't sleep.
Yeah, at 50? Shit. No, that's not good. Everything. Yeah, and so I was sleep deprived. I would not eat right. There was a lot of things. No.
That's not healthy for the mind or the spirit.
Yeah, no. So then I started living by that. That was my path. That I called that my money tree. Because I have it there and it just sits there and I pull it out every now and then and I just really look at it again just to get that mental picture. But I don't have, it's like candy. I don't even have a craving for it anymore. What's the use of it? The other day my husband wanted to buy me a donut. I was like, and I'm a donut girl. I was up at 10 o'clock at night going to Shipley's Donut on Main. Even when I stayed in Kima, I was going way over there just for the corn.
From down to the Main?
Yeah, from Kima to Main to get the donuts at 10 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to always tell people, just bring me some donuts. But yeah, I left the donuts. Yeah, but it's crazy. But it was an actual release.
Right.
And that's what, if y'all feel y'all need that release, reach out, put something together.
We should put something together. And just to kind of add that, another thing we're going to do in the next year is we said we're going to take whatever we want Wednesdays.
Oh, what we want Wednesdays.
So we're going to just do something fun because, a lot of times we forget to do fun stuff or things that we like.
Yeah.
I like
bad haircuts.
Thrills. So I like to go like roller coasters or skydiving. So I told her
I'm gonna die in the air, Andrea. I'm gonna die in the air.
But you got to do a little bit of that, because
Yeah.
if you do things that make you happy, it could be
Yeah.
like once a week, or do like that brings, like, you're living.
Yeah.
You're not just surviving in life, right? Because when we work, go home and take care of kids, and work, go home, we're just surviving.
Yeah.
You have to take time to live, to go to the park if that's what you want. You know, like I said, I like to do fun things that make me like get like those thrills in my stomach.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start doing that. So whoever wants to join me, I'll have whatever we want Wednesday. Ain't no telling what we're gonna do, but
no telling. But we said we're not gonna eat.
wait, what?
No. No, because we usually go and eat and stuff our face and not do anything.
That's true.
So we said we'll go talk, get our nails done or something like that.
Like, do something that's gonna feed your soul some happiness.
Yeah.
You know, and we forget to do a lot of that,
Yeah.
especially you got a family and stuff. Like, you work, because I do that, work, go home, and you know, read or add value. But then you gotta do things that make you laugh, smile. You know, don't forget to feed the soul with happiness.
Yeah, because a smile will iron out the wrinkle.
Yes, ma'am.
It brings peace. It really brings peace, guys. And I really appreciate this, because it felt very alleviating. But one thing I don't do, and I'm glad you don't do, you don't hide your past. Like AC, he don't hide his past, because I'm going to tell you something that's our testimony.
Exactly.
You know, we're not out there just saying, oh, this is who we are, be afraid. No,
or be embarrassed.
Or be embarrassed. Hell no, I ain't embarrassed. Nothing I do. And I will always tell on myself, if somebody talks shit and say Christina said, I'll tell you. I will tell you, or I tell on myself, because I don't need nobody talking about me, because I tell on myself. I always tell on myself, and that way nobody can gossip, because everybody knows the story already.
I want to chime in with that about the past. It's a well-known Hispanic guy right now in Houston. He got over $20 million worth of real estate and assets, and he don't want to. You know, he's scared of that past. The past holds him back. Like, bro, that's a success story. Like, bro, you know, and I'm steady picking at him to because I know that'll liberate a lot of people, especially from our communities. That'll show this a different perspective, and most people don't understand like how you can just share that. Somebody in the work world might look at you and like, dang, if she could do that, man, I know I could do this.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's no excuses.
And that is true. And I know a lot of people, like, you know, they say they're like, oh, I don't like to brag. It's not about bragging. It's about, you got to share your story, because you don't know who is relating to you, and you can change their their perspective of life. Like, dang, she did, like you said, she did it. Why? What's holding me back? You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And don't forget that testimony, you got to go through a test. That's why it's called testimony. To say and have a testimony.
So I went through that test and I got that money.
Hey, there you go. I
got that money.
She already went through the test. Now she's in the money part.
I'm in the money mode.
So don't feel, because like certain people are going through things right now, like trials that, this is not working. Right now, God is putting you where he needs you to be in, because you're going through the process. So just trust and just enjoy it wherever you're at.
Yeah, you really have to. I really feel you have to. And you got to always remember, people will always pray over your scars and not the stars. So you got to understand that.
And we got the best sayings here.
Write it down. Write it
down. Y'all keep in the process. And I'm just so grateful.
Thank
for
you.
You guys' spirit, first and foremost.
Thank you.
You guys' spirit. And just a quick sec, when I walked in on y'all doing a panel and I met y'all from another panel, I just knew the law of vibration was working. And I was inspired by you guys, and didn't know you, but I was from afar and inspired, because when I heard your story from Runner, I you don't want to be an extra, start DMing people. You want it to come natural. Right. That's why I appreciate you guys. So I just want to say that to everybody.
Thank you, Ron.
I learned it from you guys. Thank you.
And you know, when I met you, I was telling George, my husband, I was like, I just, your spirit, it just felt good. You know how I told you, like, I'm very friendly and all that, but people's spirit, I can feel. I'm like, oh, there's no guy that's no good. And yours just felt genuine. Like, you weren't trying to fake it, or you're not just trying to be this nice person so you could say, oh, I want to get to know them. Like, you just felt very genuine. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
We need more brothers like you. Like, and be very genuine and just Like you said, hey, I cook for my wife, I iron. You know,
Yeah.
no guy would say that and share
No,
that part.
because I wasn't working at that
Exactly.
time. They will not humble themselves down to that level. I never lost. I never this. I never that.
Me do that
What?
for a girl, heck no.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like
Yeah.
that right there to me, that's a real man.
Yeah.
Is what I call.
Mhm.
Not that man that I want to be tough and muscle head and all
I
that.
pay the bills. You ain't starving.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
You're like, I ain't starving outside, but I'm starving inside.
There you go.
I'm
Right
starving.
there. Right there.
My
and then
soul
they
is
wonder,
starving.
And then they wonder why these millionaires wonder why she left with the yard man.
Exactly. And then you wonder why
I do
Jose
not
took
like
the
my
wife,
yard man. I do not like my yard man.
Oh, man. That's too funny.
But it's
That's
true
hilarious.
because those are the people that have more time.
Yes.
They're not in love with money. They're in love with what, the
Right.
woman. And that's where it should be. It's not for the love of money. It's for the love of what you create.
And
from
then
that.
too, I got another tip for the fellas.
Go.
Remember who you choose as your mate. That is not going to be the body who's going to raise the kids. It's going to be the mind.
Yeah.
So if you got a nice trophy wife but with a jacked up mindset, remember that's who's going to be raising your kids. So just keep that in mind, because I know they go for that.
We missed that one.
I know.
Where did you dig that one up from?
My brother's So, but yes,
Cena's amazing.
yeah, but it's true though. Like, they're like, oh, I want the sexiest girl,
Yeah.
but with the darkest heart, with the ugliest heart, with the ugliest mindset.
Yeah.
And remember, these are the persons that are going to be feeding your kids,
Right.
putting how they're going to make their kids feel.
Yeah.
If they're insecure, they got to get all of this so they can feel good.
Right.
Then that's how they're going to make your kids feel. So
Yeah.
just want to kind of throw that out there.
Yeah. There you
Tip
go.
for the 2023. Choose wisely.
Choose wisely. Share y'all's resolutions. Y'all have goals and stuff. Set your goals out there. Manifest them. We'll pray over them. Not pray like, bro, we'll send out some blessings.
All right, hey, Pastor Christina over here.
Yeah, girl. Then with all the F-bombs. I'm the only pastor with all the F-bombs.
I don't know what
and
kind of pastor this is.
a real one.
That's funny. But all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and end it. You guys have a happy new year. And one of my biggest goals for 2023 is I want to surf more. So anything that I can be a part of or any value I can bring to anybody, please feel free to reach out. We're gonna try to put in more trainings and more like groups and stuff with different things. Not just real estate. We can just do like a self-assessment test, goals, how to write goals.
We want to
things
create
like
a
that.
community.
Yeah.
So basically we're trying to create an actual community and make sense of what it is. But we really want to start building people. And that's what she said. We want to start serving. Serving is a purpose. It's not just serving a plate of food. It's not just serving at church. It's actually being of service. And that's what, that's what I've learned to be, is of service. You'll never go wrong if you have a servant, a servant's heart. Yeah. There you go.
So, all right,
Where
guys.
can they find them? Hold on.
You can look me up on real estate wealth build on Instagram.
I did tag him.
Facebook is Robert Kennan, and all the other stuff I haven't even.
713-575-2055.
Always be a billboard.
Always be a billboard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to believe in your brand.
I'd be like, and that number is 832.
I'm saying my number. All right, guys, y'all have a great one. Y'all have a happy, safe new year.
Yes.
Try to stay away from all the, the fugly out there, and also don't get sick. Take precautions on that. We want to see you next year.
All right. Bye.